Hello there, a very good evening and welcome to Primetime News on TV1. Of course, we're coming to you live and direct from our Newsfirst studios here in Colombo. Let's start off tonight's bulletin with a look at your top stories for this evening.
30 kilograms of heroin found in Dewlapitiya. Minister Daya Gamage appears before the Presidential Commission, says committee approval was granted to store paddy at the Mattala airport and it is the responsibility of the officer in charge of storage to prevent it. Sajid assures that state administration will be based on meritocracy instead of political friendship. Lanka Workers Congress signs a deal with the Podujana Peramuna. SP Disanayaka responds to Vimal Veeravansa. Will Welgamer join the Pohot tour again?
Starting off with a look at your top story tonight, about 30 kilograms of heroin was discovered inside a house in Dewlapitiya. According to police, 3 suspects have been arrested.
The stash of heroin was found at a house located in Milkasilwatta, Ul Alpola, Dewlapitiya. Police media spokesperson SP Ruwan Gunasekara said that the house was raided this morning based on a tip-off received. 32 parcels of drugs were discovered. A number of suspects were arrested in the past few days for the possession of drugs. The Crimes Division of the Kaluthura District Police arrested a suspect in possession of over a kilogram of heroin last evening. He was arrested along the Nallurua coast in Panadura. Police also seized 50 kilograms of heroin at the Aturugiriya transit of the Southern Expressway. According to the police, 12,069 suspects have been arrested for smuggling drugs from the 10th of September to the 10th of this month. 7,232 of these suspects were arrested for smuggling drugs such as ganja and Kerala ganja. During this same time period, 4,322 suspects had been arrested for the possession of heroin. The total amount of heroin seized is 67 kilograms and 500 grams. Meanwhile, 3 suspects have also been arrested for the possession of cocaine. The police headquarters stated that 35 suspects were arrested for the possession of narcotic pills. 5,681.
We apologize for that technical failure. Moving on in more local news, presidential candidate of the New Democratic Front, Sajid Premadasa, says that he will create an era where merit is rewarded instead of personal friendships.
The special conference of the Jathika Helorume was held today under the theme Daya Nisi Magata Gamu Ekva Idiriyata Yamu. As the people of one country, we must decide if we will create a country that is enslaved by one family. Does the future of the country depend on the decisions taken by this one family? Is this the future of the country? Is this what we are going to gift the youth of our country with? We must embark on a new journey as a country. We will turn a new page in state administration after emerging victorious at the upcoming presidential election. That will be done after throwing aside the era where benefits, positions and rewards were given out based on personal affiliations. And we will create a clean administration mechanism that will help create a good future for the country by establishing a society based on meritocracy. From now on, we will change the system where positions were granted based on the surname and where duties were assigned based on personal affiliations. The entire political system will be changed. Our aim is to make our motherland stronger. We will be dedicated towards establishing efficient state institutions and ministries that can control them efficiently, to stop the waste of resources and completely eradicate fraud and corruption that has become a cancer to our country. I would like to state that we will completely destroy the system where a council from one family that sits in the top floor of an air-conditioned building in the capital decides on what should happen and what shouldn't happen in a country.
පරාජය කරනවයි කියන එක මේ අවස්ථාවේ ප්‍රකාශ කරන්න කැමතියි.
We were able to curtail the arbitrary powers possessed by the President through the enactment of the 19th Amendment, but would like to state that this presidency is a strong position. Although the general public of our country has an issue of stability, the President is on one side and the Parliament is on the other. the issues that were faced as there was no majority in parliament. That problem will be solved after this election. We will get the opportunity to form a government that does not pull in three different directions. A government that does not run on the support of extremism, and a government that can represent the entire country.
ගොඩනගා ගැනීමේ හැකියාව ශක්තිය අපට ලැබෙනවා මිත්‍රෝරුනි.
The organisation to protect the Sri Lanka Freedom Party, the Tamil Progressive Party, the Telugu Desam Party and the National Youth Front pledged their support to presidential candidate Sajid Premadasa at the conference today.
Now, on the campaign trail of another party contesting the presidential election, a memorandum of understanding between the Salon Workers Congress and the Sri Lanka Podujana Peramuna was signed in Colombo today.
When the National Council of the Salon Workers Congress met recently, they unanimously decided to pledge their support to Gotabaya Rajapaksa in the upcoming presidential election. The MOU was signed this morning at the Foundation Institute in Colombo. The MOU was signed by Professor G.L. Piris of the SLPP and Arumugan Tondaman for the Salon Workers Congress.
The question as to who will the Salon Workers Congress support in the upcoming presidential election arose. We took a long time to find an answer to that question. Our leader requested the party's National Council take a decision in this regard. Interestingly, our National Council, which has around 300 members, unanimously agreed to support Gotabaya Rajapaksa at the upcoming poll. We will work day and night towards ensuring the victory of Gotabaya Rajapaksa. Gotabaya Rajapaksa is contesting the upcoming presidential election, representing many segments of society. The performance of the tea industry has declined considerably, and those dependent on this industry are also suffering. Gotabaya Rajapaksa has promised he will increase the daily wage of tea estate workers up to 1,000 rupees. This is something that can be achieved practically.
Representing the political parties supporting the SLPP, Dinesh Gunawardena, Vasudeva Nanayakara, Udaya Gamampilla, Tissa Vitarana and Dayasri Jayasekara attended the event.
The launch of the transport policy of the National People's Power was held in Kaluthara today.
The policy document was titled Ratama Jayamaga Dakina Pekshava. Presidential candidate of the National People's Power Movement, Andra Kumar Disanayaka, presented the transport policy to the Maha Sangha. A group of JVP representatives in the district also attended the event. Because we do not produce any vehicles, we have increased the import of private vehicles. None of these people have purchased these vehicles because they are economically stable. We will focus our attention on transporting fuel through train and distributing the fuel through substations in the districts. The next question is, although we spoke about these things, where will we find the money to do it? When the war was going on, the Air Force said, give us the most advanced MiG fighter jets. Did anyone say we don't have money, we cannot purchase MiG fighter jets? They did not just purchase the jets, they purchased 4 jets for the price of 8. If we set our priorities right, we can find the money that we need. There was a project to convert the coastal railway line into an express line. It was handed over to an Indian company named Rights. The 48-kilometer stretch from Mathura to Gaul, they wanted to convert that into an expressway. They spent $60 million for the project. Welgama was the minister in charge of railways. We asked him a question. How long does the Ruhunu Kumari train take to travel this stretch from Gaul to Mathura before the upgrade? This is there in the Hansard. He said it took 42 minutes. Then we asked him a second question after upgrading the railway line at a cost of $60 million. Now how long does the train take to travel this stretch? He said 39 minutes. So for the price of $60 million, we reduced 3 minutes of travel time. That time is not even enough to urinate. Dallas Salahaperuma launched a project named Uturumituru, a 262-kilometer long railway line. You would only have to spend $500,000 per kilometer of that railway line. When that project was given to the company Ikron, the cost of a kilometer was $2.2 million US. Our estimate is $500,000. We can construct about 1,200 kilometers with that money. The main thing that has happened is the massive waste of public funds and the fraud and corruption in this country. We can develop the transportation sector with this wealth. So, if we can reduce this fraud, waste and corruption, we can develop this.
News. Parliamentarian Dr. Vijith Rajapaksa today pledged his support to presidential candidate Gotabaya Rajapaksa.
Dr. Vijith Rajapaksa, who attended a media briefing with party leaders who have extended their support to Gotabaya Rajapaksa, announced his decision.
I am an individual who gave an immense support to bring in the good governance government in 2015. The constitution was violated soon after the government came into power. For half an hour, he said there is no one except Arjuna Mahendan to build the economy of the country, and right on the 7th week of the government, the central bank was robbed. We were attacked as if we committed wrongdoings when we protected the independence of the judiciary and the Attorney General's department. Today, the people are aware of who the real bond thieves are, because I did not allow any room to interfere into the matter of the Attorney General's department. The most suitable person to be the IGP is S.M. Vikramasinghe. When his name was included by the President to the Constitutional Council, they said they want 3 names to be included. They stored paddy in a fully built airport, but they open a partially built airport by erecting a name board and have ceremonies. Cash flew in from the United States of America to draft the Constitution, and Sumandiran and Jayampati got together and drafted the Constitution. At the steering committee, the Prime Minister asks whether to take the money. Why is there a parliament if you want to beg money from the United States?
Vijith Rajapaksa revealed the steps that were taken to protect Gotabaya Rajapaksa against the allegations levelled against him.
I was continuously accused when the Attorney General's department issued a letter to arrest Gotabaya Rajapaksa, who was then the Defence Secretary. I took steps to prevent it from going further.
ඒක ඉන් එහාට යන එක මම නතර කරන්නත් කටයුතු කළා.
කිසිම ප්‍රකාශ කරනවාද ගෝඨාභය රාජපක්ෂ මහත්මයාගේ සහාය ලබා දෙනවා කියලා.
ඒකට තමයි මෙතන ලෝවාඩුනේ ඍජුවම නෙම රට වටේම ගිහින් කියනවා. ටිකටම කියනවා ඡන්දි ඉවර වෙනකම්ම කියනවා.
මේ ජනාධිපති අපේක්ෂක සමාන අහවීමක් තමයි මුතුමාගේ මන්ත්‍රීතුමේ අවශ්‍යීමේ අවදානයක් තියෙනවා.
මම කැමැතිකම් 3 වතාවක් ප්‍රතික්ෂේප කරා. ඒ මම අතහැරීම හොඳට පුරුදු කරපු කෙනෙක්.
තවත් පිරිසක් එක ඉන්නවද ඔබතුමාත් එක්ක ඉන්න කෙනෙක් කලකිරිච්ච පිරිසක්.
මම ඒ පැත්තේ කිසි කෙනෙක් එක්ක කතා කරේ නෑ.
මම ප්‍රකාශ කරා වැට් පත් අඩු කරනවා වගේ බදු කීපයක් අඩු කරනවා කියලා. හැබැයි මම අපි දැක්ක ඊයේ මංගල සමරවීර අමාත්‍යවරයා ප්‍රකාශ කරනවා එහෙම කොහොමද අඩු කරන්නේ? එහෙමනම් කොහොමද මේ නැති වුණු ආදායම හොයාගන්නේ?
දැන් ඊයේ ආණ්ඩුවේ අපි බලේ.
What did our party members say before we came into power? They said they will increase 10,000 rupees by eradicating the waste and corruption of the Rajapaksa regime.
රාජපක්ෂවරු කරපු හොරකම් නාස්ති නතර කිරීම තුලින් අද ඉන්නේ හිතෙන රටක් හදන්න යන චම්පික රණවකල එන ගණන් හදලා පෙන්නවා. හැබැයි අපිට පහුගිය අවුරුදු 4 තුල හදලා දුන්නේ දාලා දුවන්න හිතෙන රටක්.
ඔය ප්‍රශ්නෙට ඇත්තටම
Mahinda Rajapaksa provided the answer to this recently. There is a vast difference on taking decisions by obtaining the opinion of local economists in contrast to implementing foreign economic plans under the guidance of foreign countries.
The United National Party responded to MP Vijith Rajapaksa pledging his support to Gotabaya Rajapaksa.
Vijith Rajapaksa has left us a long time ago. We were the people who brought forward the argument that he should be removed from his ministerial portfolio as he had violated all the laws of the party. They had been living in one house, giving birth to children and done everything else, and now they are saying that they are getting married again. What kind of joke is this? But who are the people who joined us? Now you will begin to witness some good interesting incidences. Today Chandrika Kumaratunga is landing in Sri Lanka. The true SLFPs will do some good things in the future.
Presidential candidate of the New Democratic Front, Sajid Premadasa, spoke at a business gathering this evening in Colombo. Senior politicians, including Minister of Finance, Mangala Samadavida, economists and business personalities were present at the meeting.
The economic cost is incalculable, but it is significant, and the Department of Commerce estimated that Sri Lanka lost over 150,000 jobs alone as a result of losing GSP+. In brief, in 2015, Sri Lanka was like a patient gasping for breath in the intensive care unit of a hospital. However, we have nursed the patient. He is now walking and ready to run. It has also been decided that Sri Lanka should no longer be in the grey list we were for money laundering and terrorist financing. In fact, the official announcement removing us from the grey list was made this morning in Paris at the headquarters of FATA.
Private enterprise is given the maximum amount of opportunity to participate in the wealth creation process. Private entrepreneurs will be provided with the maximum demand side and supply side support, the maximum possible incentives and inducements so that entrepreneurship flourishes. And through this mechanism, we hope to provide the maximum amount of opportunities for equitable, inclusive growth. I should also assert at this juncture that the fruits of growth, the income and wealth that we generate, will be redistributed equitably and in a just and fair manner to all sectors of society. We shall ensure the gap that exists between the haves and the have-nots are bridged to the greatest extent. For those who are unemployed, I will ensure that there will be a plethora of job opportunities, and we will ensure through the strengthened economy and the strong economic policy that we will create millions and millions of job opportunities for those who are still in the unemployment line. While we use the free market system to generate wealth, we also have to be cognizant of the aspect of redistribution of wealth and income. By that, I do not mean taxing the business class, not at all. I think they are already heavily taxed. And I'm not the usual tax and spend politician. Rather, I would reduce taxes that exist and reform the tax system to encourage private entrepreneurship to grow and expand. So in summary, I believe in competitive markets, but I also believe in social justice.
And especially women in Sri Lanka seem to be discouraged and not entering the job market. Is this a problem that you've given thought to?
One aspect I want to look at is, does getting employed allow those to fulfill their basic human needs? Now, the Census and Statistics Department figures basically show that for a family of 4, in order to fulfill their food and non-food requirements, they need roughly for a month from 50,000 to 55,000 rupees. Now, does the jobs that are available in the labor market accrue adequate income for the people whom we are encouraging to get employed? Now, in some of the sectors, the salaries and the remuneration leaves a lot to be desired. So this is why I say that while on the one hand, we encourage and support private entrepreneurship to grow, and we really want private enterprise to succeed, because private enterprise, small and medium term enterprises are the engine of economic growth in any country. We also have to make sure that the jobs that are created through these growth mechanisms provide the labor in the market with an adequate income. As a leader, I will lead from the front, and I will lead by example, and I hope the rest will follow.
Palithurange Bandara addressed a media briefing held at the Elections Operations Office of the New Democratic Front presidential candidate Sajid Premadasa.
When journalists ask questions, he laughs and then he looks at the brother. This is what we see in Dambulla. When we go to the Dambulla cave temple, they would not let us even have a packet of cashew nuts. That is how they are. They won't even let us keep our wallets with us. We can go to Dambulla and fill a lorry with presidential candidates like this. So if you have anything to ask me, go ahead. I will not laugh like Gotabaya. We believe that we will receive the support of the TNA. It is easy for them to rely on a government where there are no murderers, no white man culture and no disappearances. And they were with the good governance for 4.5 years. Therefore, I believe whoever likes to live in a peaceful environment, both in the TNA and the SLPP, will support us. We don't have the need of hiding anything. We are protecting the rights of all people of this country. No, we are not aware of those. I do not know about a set of suggestions. I am saying that we will conduct a humanitarian government. We will protect human rights. We are working according to the constitution of the country. I do not know if they have presented several suggestions. I did not hear about that yet. There is no awareness that proposals have been made in our party's awareness mechanism.
Time news on TV1. Still in local news, leader of the Tamil Arsu Katchi Sanada Raja expressed the following views regarding the proposals put forward by university students from the northern and eastern provinces.
We don't know the winner of the elections yet. Considering on whether the candidates hold our ideals and policies, we will announce our candidates after the manifestos are announced by the presidential candidates. That is the idea we all hold as one. I am happy to announce that we will take that forward.
MP Veera expressed his thoughts on the name board of the Palali International Airport addressing a meeting.
The name board at the Palali International Airport has the Tamil language on top of the other two languages. Sinhala is in second, English in third. According to the national language policy, Sinhala should be on top. The Tamil language should be after that, in second place. The language policy has been destroyed at present.
While
MP Veera was of this stance regarding the name board of the Palali International Airport, this is how the name board of the Sri Lanka Podujana Perumuna party office in Jaffna is displayed.
The Satyagraha launched to demand parliamentarian Kumara Velgama to join the Sri Lanka Podujana Perumuna was called off today.
The Satyagraha that was conducted in the Mathugama town was joined by venerable Theras, local government representatives and area residents. The group staging the Satyagraha said that they would not call off their action until MP Velgama agrees to their demands. However, the group dispersed after Kumara Velgama spoke to the group over the phone and clarified facts to them.
There is a campaign on the internet saying that he will do something insulting. We want to free our MP from that as well. He informed us over the phone to call off this action. So we will call off this Satyagraha as per his request.
MP Kumara Velgama is currently residing at his residence in Nuwara. I am not hiding. I came to Nuwara this afternoon because the party supporters from my village are forcing me to join the Pohot tour. I do not like to change my decision. I still stand by my decision and I will stand by that decision in the future as well. My decision will be the same even after the election. Now the general public might be thinking that I am trying to pave the way for me to join the Pohot tour by getting some party supporters and protesting. I have no reason to do that. In the end, there will be about 1,000 or 2,000 people remaining, and I am ready to take the party forward with them. I will make all necessary sacrifices to do that. The people who make decisions in the SLFP are not long-standing members of the party. They do not care about what happens to the Sri Lanka Freedom Party. 50% are still uncertain. If Chandrika Bandaranaike Kumaratunga is ready to stand tall with me on this, I am ready to begin the struggle to rebuild this party.
මම මේ සටන ඉදිරියට ගෙනියන්න මේ පක්ෂේ නැවත ගොඩ ගන්න යන සටනට මං ඉදිරිපත් වෙන්න බොහොම කැමැත්තෙන් ඉන්නේ.
ඔබතුමා මේ ලෝකයා කියන්නේ ශ්‍රී ලංකා නිදහස් නායකත්වයේ ඔබතුමාට දෙන මේ පක්ෂය අපව ගොඩනගලා රටට පෙන්නන්න කියන්නේ.
මම නායකත්වයට පොරකන්නේ නැහැ.
I will not fight for the leadership, but if Chandrika Bandaranaike, as a member of the party and as the senior of the party, if she is taking up the leadership, I am willing to work with her. But if the party supporters are willing to give me the leadership, I am ready to take up the position. The Pohot tour party depends solely on Mahinda Rajapaksa. The other so-called leaders of the Pohot tour are not even citizens of Sri Lanka. So if something goes wrong, they can leave the country at any time. But we have no other country to go to. They have proved through their actions that they will leave the country when they fall in trouble. Welgamer will never go to the UNP. Remember that Welgamer will die an SLFP and I will have a blue cloth over my coffin.
මේ වෙල්ගම කවදාකවත් යන්නේ නැහැ UNP එකට. වෙල්ගම හොඳ වමේ විනියෙක්. වෙල්ගම මැරෙන්නෙත් ශ්‍රී ලංකාකාරයෙක් හැටියට පෙට්ටියේ එළියට උඩට දාන්නෙත් නිල් පාට කියන එකත් මතක තියාගන්න.
Parliamentarian S.B. Dissanayake responded to a statement made recently by MP Vimal Veeravansa.
Vimal Veeravansa.
S.B. Dissanayake මහත්තයා කියන කතාව නම් කතා කරලා වැඩක් නෑ. එතුමා කතාව හොඳින්දනේ කතාවක් වැරදිලා මේ.
There is no point in talking about the statements made by S.B. Dissanayake. His excellent speaking skills were the reason why he was jailed at one point. His words have no value. I have no reason to talk about his statements. It's best if he keeps his mouth shut. That's the biggest help that he can do to make our election campaign a success.
SB Dissanayake.
මම පෞද්ගලිකව ඇත්තටම අපේ මිත්‍රයා ඔහුගේ අධ්‍යාපන මට්ටම හා සමාජ මට්ටමත් එක්ක සලකා බලපුවම මට මේවත් එක්ක පිළිතුරු දෙමින් හැප්පෙන්න මම ආසම නැහැ.
Considering my friend's social background and educational standard, I do not like to clash with him. He said I was jailed at some point. I criticized and spoke against a corrupt judicial officer. He was the one who arrested me and put me behind bars. However, I am happy about that because while I was in prison, I wrote 10 books. I have not been accused of constructing houses with looted funds. I have not been accused of making fake passports and national identities. There are no accusations against me for constructing and providing houses to my relatives. I have never been accused of committing fraud or corrupt activities.
මට නෑදෑයන්ගේ පරපුර වලට ගෙවල් බෙදලා රජේ එහෙම චෝදනා නැහැ. මම එහෙම දූෂිතෙක් හැටියට හොරෙක් වංචාකාරයෙක් හැටියට චෝදනා නොලපු පුද්ගලෙක්.
MP Chandima Veerakodi expressed these views to the media in Gaul.
හැම ජන කොටසක් අතරම ඉන්නවා කාලකන්ණි කීප දෙනෙක්.
There are culprits in all parts of the society. The public should identify these teams who carry out false political agendas. The major figures behind those hooting teams should be identified. The public itself should give them an answer. But to tell the truth, the public is giving the answer to them. These teams should know that the public will take care of such situations hereafter. The people in front and the teams who are participating in such activities will be convinced by the intelligent people in the country. Using Hirunika, they are saying the next Prime Minister is Ranil. From the other side, their friend Akila says that the TNA will definitely support Sajid. At this time, Ranil Wickremesinghe needs the leadership of the opposition party to protect the leadership of the UNP. He is doing everything that he can do at this moment. In the past, Ranil Wickremesinghe is the person who has tried to keep our party in the lead most of the time.
හැම මොහොතෙම අපට උදව් කරලා තියෙන්නේ වැඩිම උදව් කරලා තියෙන රනිල් වික්‍රමසිංහ මහත්තයා.
Let's now take a look at a few more points that were discussed in the political arena today. Several politicians touched on the issue where SLFP seniors were jeered during presidential election rallies held in support of the Sri Lanka Podujana Peramuna.
Preferential politics has arrived, so they are now afraid because the Sri Lanka Freedom Party has a good team. My guess is the ones who got scared are doing such things. By those executions, the disadvantage is to Gotabaya Rajapaksa. The Sri Lanka Freedom Party will only be saved if the SLPP, led by Mahinda Rajapaksa, is defeated. If not, the SLFP will never raise its head again. Irrelevant of what is being said, Mahinda Rajapaksa still loves the Sri Lanka Freedom Party. The assurance that we can provide to you is that the Sri Lanka Freedom Party supporters will not be treated unfairly with the Gotabaya Rajapaksa government.
They speak so highly of Gotabaya Rajapaksa. The dictatorial system before 2015, I don't think the people of our country are prepared to go back to that era.
That affection will not decrease even by a drop. Because of that, as the Sri Lanka Freedom Party, the fullest support will be given to Gotabaya Rajapaksa for his victory. We learnt good lessons from the 2015 election. We won't let any mistakes happen again. Ranasinghe Premadasa was the fifth leader of this party. He never made plans to make his son a king while he was seated in the president's seat. Climbing the highest level of the political arena, what did he say?
කියන කතා ඇහුවම දෙයි හාමුදුරුවනේ මට නම් මතක් කරනවා සින්දුවක්. අර තියන්නේ මම ඕන වැඩක් කර දෙන්නම්. අලි ඇත්තු උනත් පෙරලන්නම් ඔබට ආඩම්බරනේ. ඔබට ආඩම්බරනේ කළුමැණිකේ. පොල් කඩලා ගාලා දෙන්නම්. රෙදි සෝදා වේලා දෙන්නම්. මොකද ආදරද පනේ. මොකද ආදරද පනේ මලිමැණිකේ. සතර වටේ අලි කුලප්පු කරපල්ලා කෝටා තමයි අපේ නුඹලගේ යමපල්ලා සටනට යන්න බලමුළුතර කල්ලා සජිත් දිනනකන් ඉවසන් ඉඳපල්ලා සජිත් දිනනකන් ඉවසන් ඉඳපල්ලා සජිත් දිනනකන් ඉවසන් ඉඳපල්ලා.
Former Chief Minister of the Western Province, Satyagraha Priya, has been removed from all portfolios in the Sri Lanka Freedom Party. He represented the Central Working Committee of the SLFP and was the chief organizer of the Maharagama electorate. When News First inquired, Satyagraha Priya said even though his positions are removed from the SLFP, he will continue to support Gotabaya Rajapaksa. Moving on, in more local news, Minister Daya Gamage appeared before the Commission to investigate fraud and corruption of the current government today.
The minister was summoned to provide evidence on the damages caused to the equipment of the Mattala International Airport when it converted to a paddy storage facility. Providing evidence before the Commission, the minister said that he was part of the committee in charge of selecting a suitable location to store paddy at and that the decision was taken accordingly. The minister pointed out that although the approval was granted to store the paddy at the airport, it is the duty of the officer in charge of the storage facility to ensure that none of the equipment at the airport is damaged. Daya Gamage also pointed out that it is also the duty of the officer in charge of the storage facility to inform his superiors if this cannot be done.
The
committee has not taken any decision to harm the Mattala airport and its storages. If there is any harm being done, I believe that it could have been done without any harm caused.
Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe was due to appear before the Commission to provide evidence on the same issue. However, the Secretary to the Prime Minister had informed the Commission that the Prime Minister will not be able to attend the hearing today. Thereby, the Prime Minister was informed to appear before the Commission on the 23rd of this month. Meanwhile, former Secretary to the Ministry of Defence, Hemasiri Fernando, who is currently in police custody over the Easter Sunday attacks, was also summoned before the Commission. He was summoned to provide evidence on irregularities in digitizing the People's Bank during his tenure as chairman of the bank. The Prisons Department had informed the Presidential Commission that Hemasiri Fernando will not be able to attend today's hearing due to health issues. Hemasiri Fernando has been informed to appear before the Commission on the 21st of this month.
Presidential candidate of the Sri Lanka Socialist Party Ajantha Vijayasinghe Perera and attorney at law Naga Ananda Kodituakku convened a media briefing in Maradana today.
Based on the current situation, the probability of the two main presidential candidates emerging first and second is very high. We have a huge responsibility to identify those who will be a threat to our country and defeat them. Those who speak of security, those from the SLPP, they are the ones who signed the SOFA agreement with the United States in 2007. Now the SOFA agreement put forward in 2018 is even more detrimental.
What does the general public expect from a president? Every day we live in fear, worried that foreign forces are going to take over our motherland. Now what's the reason for such a situation? Because our leaders looted from the loans and funds obtained from foreign countries. Every candidate contesting the upcoming presidential election is not rich. They have no wealth to inherit. So how do they find money to bring in buses filled with people? Why can't the Election Commission look into these matters? This is a huge obstruction to develop a country.
The Lawyers Union of the Sri Lanka Podujana Peramuna addressed the media at the party head office located along Nelum Mawatha today.
According to Mr. Suhada Gamlat, who was closely associating this group at the Temple Trees, it was the main accused of the bond scam, Arjuna Mahendran, who was at the Temple Trees. There was no good done in the past 5 years other than their political hunting.
ලංකාවේ Facebook pages රුපියල් ලක්ෂ
The Facebook pages in Sri Lanka have been bought for a price between 200,000 to 500,000 rupees. That is for daily promotions against the SLPP and Gotabaya Rajapaksa. We have received those details. We are ready to lodge complaints against this in the future.
මේ සම්බන්ධයෙන් පැමිණිලි කරන්න සූදානම්ව සිටිනවා.
4 suspects have been arrested in Anuradhapura on suspicion of theft of goods, including 4 vehicles worth 3 million rupees.
The raid was carried out by the Anuradhapura Criminal Investigation Division. The police suspect that these goods were stolen from Hettipola, Vallavaya, Dankotua, Adalaganvilla. The police has seized 4 vans and has found clothes, liquor and electrical devices in the possession of the suspects. The suspects are residents of Chilav, Ruanvalla, Galevalla and Kurunagala. The suspects are to be produced before the Anuradhapura Magistrates Court. Police said that investigations are underway to find more suspects involved in the theft.
The official launch of Sri Lanka's participation at the Expo 2020 Dubai was held yesterday at the Sri Lanka Export Development Board Auditorium.
Dubai. Over to Mr. Marika. Shall we all put our
Expo 2020 Dubai will be held from the 20th of October 2020 to the 10th of April 2021. UAE Ambassador to Sri Lanka Ahmed Ali Ibrahim Al Mualla, Deputy Minister of Development Strategies and International Trade Nalin Bandara, heads of trade chambers and products associations and other distinguished guests attended the event. In line with the official launch, the official website of Sri Lanka's participation at Expo 2020 Dubai was also launched.
Previously, all expos have been organized by one individual company. This is the first time ever that the cabinet made the decision that it should be a collaboration between government and the private sector. And I think it will have very, very fruitful results. I must especially thank the government of the UAE. And this does not mean it is only the UAE. It reaches out to 192 countries, and we are expecting 25 million visitors right through the year. So for tourism, investment and trade, this will be a tremendous boost.
Sri Lanka's Expo 2020 Steering Committee, its engagement so far has proven that be an excellent example of strong private-public partnership. And it is my firm belief that Sri Lanka, along with other participating nations, will continue to play a key role in helping Expo 2020.
During a media briefing convened at the Ministry of Finance yesterday, Minister Mangala Veera said the amended Monetary Law Act will increase the independence of the central bank.
The Monetary Law Amendment Act was also taken up and now being referred to the legal draftsman. That will also be a unique piece of legislation which will make the central bank almost autonomous, free from any political interference in the future.
Minister, when do you plan on presenting the MLA to Parliament?
The Attorney General gave certain observations which we received only last Monday. So in order to incorporate these observations, we have sent to the legal draftsman, and then of course it will go through the normal process. I would very much like to take it up before the end of the year.
Responding to journalists, Finance Minister Mangala Samaravira said the cabinet proposal to abolish the carbon emission tax will be presented in Parliament next week.
Speaking on our program Newsline this morning, the presidential candidate of the National Development Front, Rohan Pallewatha, expressed the following views.
What is your national security policy?
Well, personally, I believe Army, Navy and the Air Force, the tri-forces of this country, are one of the best in the world. One thing that we should look into is our maritime security. We should spend and we should, have more surveillance, because all infiltrations that is happening.
It was taken away from the Navy and handed over to a private company, and that chairman is being remanded in the system.
That is why, exactly. So we need state intervention, because we need surveillances, because we do not have adequate crafts to, because we have our exclusive economic zone is 8 times bigger than the country itself. So we need to protect this exclusive economic zone, and we have to use it to the maximum.
Global debt has reached an all-time high of $184 trillion in nominal terms, the equivalent of 225% of global GDP in 2017. The estimate is based on a global survey conducted by the International Monetary Fund.
On average, the world debt now exceeds $86,000 in per capita terms, which is more than 2.5 times the average income per capita. The most indebted economies in the world are also the richest ones. The top 3 borrowers in the world, United States, China and Japan, account for more than half of global debt. The private sector's debt has tripled since 1950. Another change since the global financial crisis has been the rise in private debt in emerging markets led by China. However, on the other end of the spectrum, private debt has remained very low in low-income developing countries. Compared to the previous peak in 2009, the world is now more than 11 percentage points of GDP deeper in debt. Meanwhile, the IMF, during the launch of its Global Financial Stability Report last week, warned of increase in debt across the globe. The IMF notes that the stimulus provided by central banks in both developed and developing countries had the side effect of encouraging firms to borrow more, even though many would have trouble paying it back. The IMF fears that the build-up of debt makes the global financial system highly vulnerable and are telling member states not to repeat the mistakes of the early 2000s when warning signs of a possible market meltdown were ignored. World Bank President David Malpass said the World Bank will likely downgrade its global growth outlook again amid uncertainty over falling trade and investment flows.
Economic activity has been weakening and downside risks have been intensifying. In those uncertain conditions, many central banks have adopted an easier stance of monetary policy. Remarkably, about 15 trillion of government and corporate bonds have negative yields. Markets expect that around 20% of advanced economy government bonds will have negative yields until at least 2022. In a serious downturn, corporate debt at risk could rise to 19 trillion. Vulnerabilities among non-bank financials are now elevated in 80% of economies as measured by GDP.
Many countries have already used up their fiscal and monetary policy space, so structural reforms are essential. Over $15 trillion in bonds have zero or negative yields, which amounts to frozen capital. Debt has climbed to troubling levels. We need fresh thinking to reignite growth. In conclusion, I'll have a simple message for countries. The choices you make now matter. Well-designed structural reforms are needed to unlock growth and build the foundations for future prosperity. Problems include excessive public sector employment and pension promises, and subsidies for goods, services, and financing.
A newly compiled report by the World Bank warns that less than 10% of the global population breathes clean air.
More than 90% of the world's population were exposed to unhealthy air in 2017. That same year, air pollution was the 5th highest mortality risk factor globally. Long-term exposure to PM 2.5 concentration of more than 10 micrograms per cubic meter annually puts an individual at higher risk of heart disease and lung cancer. More than half of the global population is exposed to very low-quality air, while majority live in India and China. South Asia had the highest levels of PM 2.5 in 2017 compared with other regions. Major ambient air pollution causes include emissions from vehicles, power plants that burn coal, industrial emissions, and many other human and natural sources. Globally, the top 10 countries with the highest mean exposure to ambient pollution includes Nepal, with more than double the world average, and India in South Asia, Niger, Cameroon, Nigeria, and Chad in sub-Saharan Africa, and Qatar, Saudi Arabia, Egypt, and Bahrain in the Middle East and North African region.
Let's now take a look at some international news in brief.
From protests to ceasefire agreements to the very latest in international politics, I'm Michaela Fernando with today's International Roundup. Now, taking a look at your top story, shelling and gunfire has been heard in northeastern Syria just one day after Turkey agreed with the United States to pause its offensive into Syria to allow for Kurdish-led forces to withdraw. From the Turkish town of Selanpınar across the border from Ras Al Ain, the sound of machine gun fire and shelling was heard in the area of Ras Al Ain. Smoke rose from one part of the Syrian town. We now take a look at Lebanon's capital city just a day after demonstrators and police clash, after thousands of people rallied against the government's handling of an economic crisis. Some protesters remained on the streets of Jayta, north of Beirut, chanting revolution next to burning barricades blocking the town's roads. In the coastal city of Joinay, Lebanese soldiers watched over protesters still gathered on a main highway. The government backed down from plans announced hours earlier to tax voice calls made through the Facebook-owned WhatsApp messaging software as people vented their anger at the political elite in the second nationwide protest in less than a month. Meanwhile, neighboring India has stepped up security in the temple town of Ayodhya after the National Investigation Agency issued an alert warning of a possible militant attack. India on October 14th barred public gatherings in the town ahead of the Supreme Court's final arguments to decide whether a Hindu temple should be built on the ruins of a mosque in a long-running dispute. We are now joined by Newsfirst's Martin Satyagraha, who will bring you tonight's Sports Roundup.
The first of the three T20 internationals in the series is set to be played in Adelaide on October 27th, before the action moves to Brisbane and then Melbourne. Prior to that, Sri Lanka will be playing a practice match against Australia's Prime Minister's 11 on the 24th, which is next Thursday.
We have been joined by Bhanuka Rajapaksa, the newest batting sensation of Sri Lanka cricket. Bhanuka, you have been selected for the Australian tour, and getting selected for the Australian tour, would it have been a reality if not for those magnificent performances against Pakistan? How do you feel now?
Yeah, it's very exciting to get selected for the Australian tour. I've been there once when I was playing for under 19s,
And yeah, Pakistan was a sensational debut series for me. So I think I took the most of it, and most of the boys did so. So it's quite exciting to go to Australia.
Now, you would have had a conversation with the captain of the T20 international team, Lasith Malinga. Has he communicated to you about what is expected to you from the team? I'm sure the viewers would want to see those lofted off drives, you know, whenever they see you play.
Yeah, see, Lasith and I, we've been friends for a long time. So since the day that I got into this idea, I've been very supportive. But to be exact, there was no such conversation regarding, you know, what he needs from me or what he expects from me. But see, we've had these discussions before. So I think it's all under control at the moment, and I know my role, what needs to be done for the team. So Lasith has been very cool and chilling with all the boys, and he has given all the freedom, but we just need to take responsibility when it's needed.
Now, in an interview that I saw, that Dimut Karnaratne said that he wants to end his test career with 20 to 25 centuries. Now that you have broken into the national team, do you have any goals for yourself now, what you want to achieve in future?
Yeah, see, one of my role models in cricket was my cousin. See, he got the break when he was about 30 years old. Thank God I got 2 years before him, so I think I got more time than him. See, I would like to score at least 10,000 ODI runs, much as possible with T20 runs, and I would like to get a break into the test side as well. If I could do so, I'll score about 7,500 runs. That would be my goal.
I'm sure we could expect a Mr. Cricket from Sri Lanka as well. Now, Bhanuka, now the Australian series is just, a couple of weeks away. Now, how confident are you in terms of beating Australia and your preparations leading up to the matches?
See, Pakistan tour was such a confidence boost to the entire nation, I think, and the preparation had been the same from the previous two, and we just want to continue the good work that we did in Pakistan. I don't think we'll do much changes when you go to Australia, but the wickets will play a different role there. See, we've got different pitches to Bhatti and train at Ketarama, so I think with the best facilities we could afford from cricket board, we are pretty much confident.
Now, David Warner and Stephen Smith getting back to the T20 international side of Australia. Now, in addition to that, they have good pace bowlers, the likes of Mitchell Starc, and they have an answer squad as well. Now, do you think who are the players do you think will be a threat for the Sri Lanka team when you visit Australia? See,
we've had quite a bit of plans down in Lanka, and we have some tactics as well. So I think Cummins would be, I won't say it's a threat, it's a T20 game, he would be quite difficult to get off. So and Starc probably, because he didn't do much well in the Ashes series, so he wants to show what he's capable of. And obviously Smith and Warner wants to score some runs because he has been not scoring runs as well. Smith is, of course, he's dangerous any format he plays and against any country. So quite a lot of players to look for, but we are quite well prepared.
Any suggestions or any message to the Australian team who is watching this particular interview, maybe the supporters who are watching this interview?
See, the thing is, we beat Pakistan going into the Aden, being number one, being world's number one side. So we could do mystery Sri Lankan side, and we would do our best to build the trophy back.
Wonderful. Thank you very much, Bhanuka Rajapaksa. We wish you all the best for the Australian series and your future endeavours. Thank you very much.
And with that, we wrap up Primetime News on TV1 for tonight. We'll see you again tomorrow, same time, same place. Until then, take care and God bless.